This is our first instructional video in our chemical equations and reactions unit. Today we're going to talk about chemical symbols in chemical reactions and chemical equations. So the symbols and formulas in a chemical equation are used to represent the reaction in a way that we can look at and manipulate to determine a bunch of different things about what's going on in this reaction. So the first thing you need to find when you're looking at a chemical equation is the arrow. The arrow stands for yields, and it is the part of the equation that's going to divide your reactant side, which is everything to the left of the arrow, from your product side, which is everything to the right of the arrow. So literally it reads reactants yields products. Although when you read these, you're going to read the actual names of what these symbols, what these formulas represent. So for example, this would read magnesium reacts with oxygen to yield magnesium oxide and energy. There are a bunch of different symbols that you can see in a chemical equation that you need to know what they mean. So first one we've already covered, the arrow means the yields and indicates the results of the reaction. Sometimes the arrow is going to have something written over the top of it, like heat or maybe a certain compound, and those are catalysts, which are things that are added to the reaction to speed it up. If you see a double arrow, that means the reaction is reversible, which means it can go in both ways. Letters in parentheses stand for the state of matter that the reactants are normally in this kind of equation. So if it's an S, it stands for solid. And if it's on the product side, it could mean a precipitate, although a precipitate is also noted in a chemical equation by a downward pointing arrow. L means that the reactant or product is a liquid. AQ stands for aqueous, which means that the reactant or product is in an aqueous solution, so it has been dissolved in water. And then G stands for gas, so the reactant or product is in a gaseous state. Gas state can also be represented by an upward pointing arrow. Finally, we have these numbers that are in the equation. The big numbers that appear in the front of a chemical formula are called the coefficients, and they tell us how many atoms or molecules are being reacted or produced. And for compounds, I'm just going to use the term molecule to refer to all compounds, even though we've learned in the past that only covalent compounds are really molecules, but this just makes it simpler. Then also the subscripts in the chemical equation, the little numbers that appear to the right-hand side of the element symbol, tells me how many atoms of that element are present in the molecule. And so next time we will talk about types of chemical reactions.